My husband wants me to abort our baby. I said no. Then he later broke into my house, and what he did was, it feels like a cruel, cruel joke. Years before I met my husband, I was in such a toxic, abusive relationship that it almost ended my life. I spent years in therapy, bettering myself, trying to figure out why I accepted that type of love. I stayed single for years, and once I started dating, I made sure to keep an eye out on all red flags. Heck, I even took things slowly when there was nothing but green flags. Thanks to my ex, I was familiar with love bombing. I met my husband at a work event, and things just fell into place. I opened up and explained my past trauma, and let him know that if we were going to date, that it would require a slow pace and patience. I won't say that he was perfect, but he was always kind, compassionate, and cared. We dated for about 5 years, engaged for 1, and married for a little over 3 years now. We recently bought our second home together. We both got promotions at work, so we sat down and talked about kids. He wanted a big family, and I only wanted 1 or 2. We agreed on 2, and, well, we started trying. It didn't take long, and here I am 6 months pregnant, still working, have swollen ankles, and a back that won't stop aching. Other than that, I've been very happy and have what I thought was a supportive husband. 3 weeks ago, I found out that he was having an emotional affair, and honestly, probably a physical one. When confronted with the evidence, he admitted to not being attracted to me while pregnant. I am wrecked. I haven't gained unnecessary weight, I still take care of myself, even with the morning sickness that hasn't gone away. He says he's not sorry about it, and told me that I was being overdramatic when I cried. He is staying with his family until he can find a home to rent. He doesn't want to get a divorce, saying after the pregnancy is over, we can go to therapy and fix things. I don't want to. I cannot physically look this man in the eye anymore without feeling disgust. I have a text from him saying that he's my only option because no man wants to date a single mom. I will be talking to a lawyer and figuring out how to divorce him. I just wanted to vent into the void today. For now, I'm going to DoorDash some nuggets and a Frosty from Wendy's and be okay if I gain 5 pounds from it. Thanks for listening, or, well, reading, I suppose. Here are some relevant comments. Someone in the comment section offered to buy OP food. Thank you for the offer. I already ordered my food and I am stuffed. If you'd like to head over to the free food subreddit and feed someone that's in need, they need it more than I do. Then OP replied to a now deleted comment and said, I don't think you deserve the amount of dislikes for asking a question. Maybe it was in the way you worded it, who really knows? 1. Emotional was how I decided to word it, because what else do I call just talking? 2. About the cheating, he was telling a very young, naive woman how hot she was, how he couldn't wait to touch her body, telling her he loved her, but then claimed they never met. He would complain to her that it wasn't fun anymore. There were obviously pictures sent back and forth due to comments, but the pictures were deleted. 3. I asked him about all his overtime at work and he couldn't give me a straight answer, hence the physical aspect of things. This man went from working maybe 40 hours a week to 60, and I may be dealing with pregnancy, but I'm not stupid. And 4. You didn't ask this, but I'm putting it here because people have brought it up and they may read this comment. I would never expect my husband, or whatever you want to call him, to find my changing body attractive. Pregnancy is weird. I think it's beautiful, but he or others don't have to. What I did expect was him not to call me hideous to another woman, or to cheat, especially while I'm growing a life we both wanted. Then another user commented and asked, OP, why do you have to move? We bought our home together, and instead of fighting it out, we'll be selling and splitting assets, or at least I hope that's how it will be. Plus, I just don't want to be here in this house. It's too big for just a baby and I, plus the dog he just had to have that's currently curled up in bed with me. And to clarify, I'm still in the shared home. He moved out to stay with his family until he finds another place. Update. 2 days later. I was told I'm not allowed to change the locks due to it being his home as well, and he came over last night knowing there wasn't crap I could do to prevent it. Thankfully, he only grabbed some personal belongings, threatened to take the dogs, he did not, and let me know he emptied our shared account. Part of me rolled my eyes and figured he wasn't dumb enough to do that, and the other part made a mental note to check it once he left. And sure enough, our account has maybe $5 in it. He did a transfer, which I will be calling the bank about and speaking to an attorney about this afternoon. Thankfully, my dad taught me you don't fully mix finances, so my savings weren't capable of being touched, and while it's not a lot, it's enough to pay for the fees over the next few weeks. I don't have any family left, so I think he's doing a power play to make me feel like I'm alone and need him, when in all reality, it's lit a fire under my ass that I don't want or need such a garbage person in my life. Thank you to everyone that's reached out with comments, kind messages, and helpful advice. Update number 2. I wanted to do an update with how many people took the time to send messages, leave comments, and share their own personal stories, which especially helped make me not feel so alone. He showed up the day before yesterday, completely drunk, begging to talk, increasing in anger when I would just ignore him and walk away. It kept increasing, so I went to grab my bag and walk down the road to a neighbor's home so I wasn't alone. He grabbed my arm to stop me, and when I yanked it away, he slapped me, almost a backhanded open slap. The cops were called. I didn't have a mark on my face, so it was a my word versus his situation. They escorted him off the property, and I'm only now assuming he's back with his parents now. He did throw a fit about the dogs and does have proof of ownership, so I'm guessing he'll be able to take them. I went to leave to go for a drive to clear my head after everything and realized 3 of my 4 tires were flat. I know it was him, but I just don't have proof. Insurance won't cover it, so going to a tire shop on Friday morning, just another drop in the bucket. As for the attorney, I've had my consult, and I'm waiting for my check to come in for my actual appointment and getting the ball moving on this. There's not any family left, and a few close friends are kept in the loop, but I don't want to burden them or treat them like unpaid therapists, so I think that's why I came back to Reddit. There's something therapeutic about just typing it all out into the void. The baby/pregnancy is okay. I've actually lost weight, and the doctor has told me to avoid stressful situations and to take things easy. I will be calling to see if I can change the locks on the home now, and if not, I'm going to start looking for places. Here are some more relevant comments. One user said, "It's okay to burden one of your friends. Otherwise, you could stay in a woman's shelter for safety." Staying with friends is not possible. A lot are out of state, and my lawyer mentioned abandonment of assets. Plus, my job and doctor are here as well. I do have someone coming out and putting a few cameras up, and thankfully the neighborhood is aware and keeping an eye out. This is all short term, of course, and the goal is to leave. There's just a ton of reasons why that can't be right this moment. Then OP elaborated on her best friend. Thank you. While I'm trying to do what I can and stay safe, my friends are on the other side of the US. What we're doing right now is FaceTimes and phone calls. My best friend has outright said if she calls and I don't call back within 5 minutes of our setup time, she's calling the police. She also put in for some time off at work and wants to come up to help me look at places and just be there in general. I'm not going to lie, I'm struggling in every way possible, and I'm scared, but I know I have a support system to lean on. Then OP elaborated on the cameras. My neighbor has some they're letting me use until I can afford to buy some better ones. They have video but no audio. At this point, I'm glad knowing I'll at least have something. Then another user said, "I really hope you get that money back." I really hope so too. He seriously transferred everything but $5 from the checkings and the savings, which didn't even have his name on it. Then another user asked, "Wait, OP, how is that possible?" Yeah, we had a shared laptop and I didn't think he could get into it, but I'm somehow thinking he managed with passwords or something. I've filed a dispute with the bank and they're investigating it, along with a fraud report at the police station. The bank mentioned with it being my husband, they may not approve of the dispute, so that's why I went and did a report at the police station. Then another user asked OP to elaborate on her relationship with her in-laws and can she start the divorce proceedings sooner than the birth. While I would consider it a civil relationship with the in-laws, they are his parents and in their eyes, he can do no wrong. He is an only child and they have a very, very close relationship. His mother apologized on his behalf, but asked me to put myself in his shoes. They're choosing to wear blinders to the whole situation. With the divorce, that's the whole attorney thing. I've done a free consultation. The attorney and I agreed with the assets and how things are going. It won't be a mediation, I think, and will be a long, expensive court battle knowing how spiteful he's being. They have recommended a police report on any issue to have it filed, to not block contact with him for proof of harassment, and think the best course of action is selling the property and splitting assets. I'd love to just focus on my pregnancy and myself, but due to safety reasons, I'm staying on top of legal issues. Update. I changed my locks. I figured if he would get the law involved, I would use pregnancy brain and be forgetful to give him a spare set. But he broke in late last night. I was able to contact the police before I confronted him, but due to location, I knew it would be a bit. I tried walking by him to leave the house, but every time I would, he'd shove me, once hard enough to make me stumble and fall backwards. The eerie part is he never once yelled. He threw things. One of the items hit me, causing an emergency room visit requiring stitches, and said the most vile things to me. He said he hated me, I should end my life, how useless I was, etc., yet never once raised his voice. I'm not saying that in a good way. I wish he would have yelled. It was a fight or flight instinct and I found out mine was to freeze. I hate that for myself. He was arrested and his mother already bailed him out. I am staying at a hotel thanks to a work advance and looking into apartments. I won't be stepping a foot into that home we shared until my best friend is here, and even then it will be with the police with us. Nobody can figure out what made him change almost overnight. Only thing I'm guessing is a psychotic break, but I'm not a therapist or doctor. Besides some ugly bruises and some stitches, I and the baby are fine. My lawyer feels like this is enough to get a protection order for myself and will include the pregnancy and baby. Next time I see him will be at court. Sorry I'm rambling and maybe this doesn't make any sense. For now, I'm safe. I can sleep good for the first time in weeks. I have the dogs too. Nobody is aware of where I am besides one close person and the police.
Here are some more relevant comments. One user asked, could it be a head injury?
I wish he was hit in the head. That SOB deserves it. But on a serious note, no, nothing changed. No outside stress, no injuries, nothing that I'm aware of. I know it sounds unbelievable, but once the mask slipped, the gloves were off. I think he thought he wanted it, to the point where he tried to believe that is what he wanted / the right thing to do. It's hard. It's so hard. I wish I could hate him, but I just feel sorry for him. That does not mean I will ever go back, or at this point talk to him without the law involved. I am choosing myself and the little one, and really, it's his loss.
Then another user asked, OP, can you get an abortion?
I've had a couple of those comments, so don't take this reply personally, just the one I'm using. Abortion is not in the books for me. I am not anti-abortion, and I feel like it's a right woman should have, and it's heartbreaking what our nation is going through when it comes to women having that stripped away. But I'm 6 months pregnant. I can feel her move. I love her. She isn't a fetus to me. She is a baby. If I was 4 to 8 weeks, yeah, maybe it would have been an option, but it is not now. I will take every step in making sure we are protected. I will love her enough for the both of us. I will not let her sperm donor have the opportunity to hurt her. Update post number 3. Police met me at my home to grab some personal belongings and pretty much anything and everything else I could grab. Thanks to the user who recommended me calling the non-emergency number. It was smooth sailing. He wasn't home. I didn't have the fear of him showing up, and both officers were very kind. What I walked into, on the other hand, was not very fun. This man looked like he went on a bender. Bleach on clothes, food everywhere, personal belongings just destroyed, especially the nursery. I was able to salvage a lot of the bigger items and packed what I could. They're now in storage until I move into my place. I took pictures, and as aggravating as it was, especially with the 1 step forward, 2 steps back, I'm hopeful that there'll just be another thing used against him to prevent custody. As far as him, he has no way of contacting other than the attorney or email that's been provided, and it's been quiet on both ends. His parents have not reached out. I don't even know what I would say to them if they tried, so no loss there. His girlfriend, yes, girlfriend as I found out, has been trying to contact me via friends to let me know she is pregnant. I am unsure if that's true or not, but that in the very least confirms the affair and how well he kept things hidden. I do want to clear the air, by the way. I made a post asking for helpful information on resources that could potentially help, and someone made a comment saying I was in it for a long con, and that's just untrue. I have not and will not accept any personal items, donations other than advice, and maybe an internet hug. While I wish my story was made up, it is not. Maybe it's a venting board, maybe it's just connecting with people that have been in the same situation, but it helps me keep sane. Anyway, I will leave it at thank you all for listening and checking up on me. I'm safe, I'm good, pregnancy is the only thing kicking my ass. I'll make sure to make a post in a few months letting y'all know she's here and that we made it. Bye for now.
Then OP replied to a few more comments in the comment section and said,
Oh, trust me, I'm having bad days with it, especially emotionally. I'm sure the hormones aren't helping either. I've debated if I turned a blind eye and if there really weren't any red flags. I've had moments where I've missed him because it's not just a switch. We loved each other, or at least I loved him. This is a person I planned a future with and had a past with. It's really just an emotional roller coaster, and that's okay. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to handle all of this, but I'm doing my best. Well, this was a crazy first story, but I say that a lot, don't we? Some of the stories at the start hit you hard, but I'm glad for OP that she has dealt with the husband, that the baby is safe despite everything she's gone through. Like the doctor said, no stressful situations, and then life happened. But I am rooting for this lady, and it seems like the ex-husband went through some psychotic break or something happened to him. I mean, he put his hands on her, he pushed her down, he backhanded slapped her, he messed up the home. So that guy, he's got stuff he needs to work out. But I mean, just remember back at the start of the story, OP came out of a really abusive relationship and had to figure out and try really hard as to why she loves that way and recognize that she was in an abusive relationship. So she's come really far, but it's also unfortunate that this happened to her. But I feel like she will come out the other end stronger. Hopefully so. But anyway, next story. Story number 2. My half-sister wanted to show up in a wedding dress to my engagement party, so I changed the party theme so she would fit right in. My half-sister, Heather, and I never really got along. We are both 24. My father left my mother for her mother, and we were born the same month, 20 days apart. It has always been weird. It doesn't help that Heather's mom hates me and my mom. By extension, Heather and I didn't have the best relationship. She has always tried to one-up me, even though we both have a similar economic background. I can give examples of this, but for the sake of the word limit, won't write them here. So now, my fiancé and I got engaged last month and had our engagement party this Saturday. We had planned it originally as a casual, formal event. Casual dresses, but not "I'm going to the Met Gala" nice. But more like "we are going to a good restaurant" nice. Anyway, my cousin hits me up saying she has to show me something. It was the picture of the dress Heather was gonna wear. And this dress, oh Jesus Christ, it can only be described as opulent. It was long and white, strapless with sewn-in crystals and gold accents. I'm pretty sure it's a wedding dress, but I can't be 100% certain. This made me really mad, so I decided screw that. I started texting people telling them that there had been a change of plans, and that instead of casual formal, I decided to make a costume party. My mother's side is crazy for Halloween, so they were immediately on board. I told my father via text and asked him to relay the message to Heather and her mother, knowing full well that he would forget or leave it to the last minute. Saturday comes along and guests start showing up, most of them in costumes. Some didn't have time to get one. We just provided them with fun hats and cheap wigs. Heather, my dad, and her mother come like 1 hour late. As soon as she notices that everyone was either wearing elaborate costumes or weird accessories and she didn't stand out, she lost it. Especially when my fiancé came along and told her that her bride dress looked amazing for a cheap costume. She left crying, and her mother and my father told me that I was being childish and I could have told Heather myself and not have tasked my father. And for those interested, my fiancé was dressed as Bubbles and I was dressed as Mojo Jojo. My mom and aunts went as ABBA. Other memorable costumes were Luffy and Zorro, Ian and Malcolm and John Hammond, and Jesus. Edit. So, why did I invite her? It's one of those weird family situations where not inviting them would have been more dramatic. You know, when you try pleasing everyone. Plus, I still wanted a relationship with my father, so not inviting Heather and her mom would have made things super difficult, and made it so my father would have had to choose. When I kept thinking of it, I noticed that my father wouldn't have chosen me on this scenario, which is why I ended up cutting them off. Also, some people said I let her win. No, the point of this is to ruin my half-sister's intentions. She wasn't just dressed nicely, as some of you put it, she wore a wedding dress to my engagement party. I'd much rather subvert this whole mess rather than have her smugly sitting at the table with her wedding dress. Also, some of you are really hung up on the cheap wigs part and ignore literally everything else regarding the party. A minority of our guests wore those cheap wigs. Also, it literally doesn't matter. We had a blast. After she left, I didn't even think of her again till a few days later. I don't regret the costume party, and I wish I thought of it earlier, to be honest. Edit. I don't care if you are from Fox or Bored Panda or BuzzFeed or whatever. No, I won't give you an exclusive interview. This is not even newsworthy. WTF kind of journalism is that supposed to be? Edit. I don't think I would have to mention that I have indeed tried to talk to Heather, her mother, and my father a million times about her behavior. It never helps, and she always just does something more outrageous. All the ways of diplomacy and dialogue have been exhausted, and so am I. Edit 2. Some people seem to think this is about my wedding. It's about the engagement party. Heather wasn't the one to show me what she was going to wear. My cousin did. Also, this is not about Heather wearing a nice dress. Heather was going to wear something that looked suspiciously like a wedding dress. The dress code stated casual formal, not white tie.
Here are some relevant comments. User 1 said, "What you did was so petty, I love it. Please tell me you disinvited them to your entire wedding after that."
I have officially gone no contact with that side of the family. My father was a spineless slug. I never looked forward to seeing him and had little love left for him. Update, 20 months later. I had planned countless times to update this post. I even asked the mods if it was allowed, but I was too lazy and always stopped halfway through. Anyway, I keep seeing my post as an MFing TikTok. I also saw an account that pretended to have an update. Apparently, my husband cheated with my half-sister, my mother exploded, and my grandma is a dog. But anyway, onto the real update. I got married. It was an eventful and thankfully drama-free day. My father was not in attendance. After my engagement party, I realized that he would never choose me willingly. Even if he loves me, he doesn't love me enough to stand up for me. He constantly allows his wife and daughter to walk all over me and even become abusive. So I wrote him a lengthy email from my old school days email account. It detailed my resentful feelings against him and uninvited him from the wedding. Then I logged out because I know myself. I would be upset with his answer, and if he wouldn't answer, then I would also be upset. I also blocked him and his family from all access, and I went cold turkey, freezing even. I changed phone providers and deleted my social media accounts for a while too. He did try to contact me through my mother. She said it was just upsetting, so I told her I did not want to know. So I just cut him off, and boy, my life improved drastically. We had an amazing wedding. Also, some unhinged things happened after the wedding. I got a cease and desist letter from my half-sister. It was very vague and weird, but we quickly found out that it was only a Google copy pasta. My stepmother followed me to the supermarket and tried to intimidate me to apologize to Heather. She made the produce wildly uncomfortable. Also, my father tried to pick me up at work. He was walking next to me while I went to my car. He was trying to get me to apologize to Heather and her mom. He said that I should be the bigger person and that I know how both of them are. So I just told him that he must be mistaken because my father is dead. He just stood there as I drove off. Then they started to bother the rest of the extended family. Heather and her mom apparently wanted them to cut me off finally, which backfired spectacularly because now they are cut off. Which also means that they are excluded from a lot of family events that they were looking forward to. Plus, they can't use my uncle's cabin. So Heather's mom has allegedly been at her sister's since the whole breakdown. I have to be honest though, I don't know how much of this is true. As you know, the toxic gossip train always has to be taken with a grain of salt. I don't know, but I think it's funny. A sad thing is, I don't even miss my father. His absence has made zero negative effect on my life. We did have one more costume party around Halloween, but this time we gave everyone more time and it was even more fun. My mom's side of the family all pitched in. We got a venue and invited a bunch of people. I recommend this totally. I met so many of my cousin's friends who I have kept in touch with. Nothing else has changed though. I still have my old job, I am not pregnant, we have the same old apartment. We did redecorate though. So this is all for me. Not all too dramatic.
And here are some final relevant comments. User 1 said, "What was the fake cease and desist for?"
For disruptive behavior. I found the template she used and everything.
And finally, User 2 said, "Just curious, how is your mom with your father and all of this? Is she remarried? Hopefully she did better after the trash took itself out."
My mother has a longtime partner. He is very lovely. Dang, this girl said my father was a spineless slug.
Then she said, "Sorry, you must be mistaken. My father is dead." Double dang, she is cold. But the only reason she's cold is because there was no warmth from her father. See what I did there? Anyway, I don't think OP is the a-hole, right? We've read a lot of these wedding stories. I've never been personally married, but I've gotten a lot of insight, and you don't want to one-up the person getting married. What? Why do some people want to outdo the woman getting married? And why do you want to outdo the woman getting married at her, not even at the wedding, at the party? And as OP mentioned, Heather was just trying to outdo her all their lives, apparently. So, I don't know. Heathers do what Heathers want. But OP's living her best life. Father's gone. Crazy mom's gone. Heather's gone. Dave's gone. I don't even know if there's a guy named Dave in the story, but he's out of here. We're cutting all the toxic people out. Next story.
Story number 3. Am I the a-hole for laughing when my mother said it's my fault my brother got punched? Before my 18M brother, 19, went to university, we had a massive argument. I had just discovered that he slept with my now ex-girlfriend. She confessed to me, which led to me breaking up with her. He claimed it was a one-time mistake and meant nothing, but I still told him I no longer want to see him again. He lives with our mom while I live with dad. Later that day, mom visited. She said that he kept his pent-up anger and then unleashed it at university where he kicked a campus cat. That led to him getting punched by someone who studies at the same faculty. She then told me that I should visit, also adding that it was my fault. At that point, I just laughed. It was an incredulous laughter, rather than one born out of amusement. My mom narrowed her eyes at me and said I shouldn't be indifferent to how she is feeling. Update, 4 hours later, I sent her the following text. All right, Mom, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I had held him accountable for what he did, and I'm also sorry that the guy at his university held him accountable.
And here are some relevant comments. One user said, "Why exactly did your brother have pent-up anger? What was said on your part? Is something missing?"
He was angry since I told him I don't want to see him again, said that I was overreacting. Update post, 20 days later. So, some of you said that he was lucky to get only one punch for kicking the cat. Well, my mom just called me. He has been beaten up twice for it since then. No sympathy for him, though. She still wanted me to visit, so I told her no, and when she insisted, I blocked her. We are now no contact.
Believe it or not, guys, I used to be 18 years old. I even used to be 19 years old, so I can say from experience, I was never this stupid. Okay, my mom is allergic to cats, so I wasn't allowed to have one around me. But when it came near me, I didn't want mama getting allergic. So you know what I did? I walked away from the cat. I didn't falcon punch it into next week. I had friends when I was 18, and you know what I didn't do? I didn't sleep with their girlfriends. I didn't sleep with anybody, to be honest. But that's not important because this guy is an idiot, the brother, just to clarify, and he needs therapy. And if I was in his shoes, I probably would have done the same thing. But I would have been like, hey, Mom, my brother needs to go to therapy. He has anger issues. He has impulse issues, and you are enabling him. Not really enabling him. You are not agreeing with me and validating my emotions, mother. All right? Look at it from my perspective. But anyway, guys, what would you do? What do you think about the story? What do you think about all the stories? I don't know, but feel free to comment something.
But guys, this is the end of the video, and thank you all so much for watching.
Bye-bye.